hope you know Shankaracharya, the 8th century AD philosopher who established Advaita. His masterly interpretation of the Upanishads, they are the treasures for us today in order to understand this Upanishadic literature. Whenever we have doubts, we go to Shankar Bhashya. And there you find very profound insights. In fact, I studied this literature just after my meditative hours for many years. And I found that really it is an outpouring of a meditative mind, his discoveries or his interpretation of these Upanishads. Now, when it comes to the Isha Upanishad, the subject matter is Isha, the reality of life, which is consciousness, God. This is the understanding of God in the Vedas, divine consciousness. You know, Shankaracharya puts it very beautifully. This being the subject matter of Upanishads, you must learn to understand it in the first person rather than in the third person. When I say God, or when I use the word consciousness, if you are thinking of something hazy or something you can visualize, well, you haven't caught the idea as yet. Consciousness is the fact of your being. That is what gives you conscious experiences, isn't it? It is present right now. You are a conscious being because somewhere there is consciousness. In consciousness, in fact, you are thinking. Check and see if these statements are true or not. You don't have to swallow them, but apply it just now. You see, this is how the Upanishad is to be studied. Apply it just now and see, is this true or not? That I am fundamentally aware or conscious. Through that awareness, I think. Through that thought process, I identify with the body. When I am identified with the body, I relate to the objects around me. So it all starts with the fundamental fact of your being aware. Now suppose you are not aware of an object. Would awareness remain or not? Think and see. Can you be just aware? The awareness is not yet invested in anything. Just bare awareness. Yes, you are capable of that state. In fact, the first thing when you get up in the morning, you just become aware. Then you start recognizing the objects around you. You become body conscious gradually. So what they are telling you is awareness is the fundamental fact of your being. It is your unchanging identity. But we don't think of it that way in normal life, isn't it? We identify with a whole lot of things around us. We identify with our home, with our bank accounts, we identify with our jobs, we identify with the family. And awareness, well, we never think of it this way. But if you scrutinize this whole thing, what human identity is about, if you analyze it, you will come to this understanding that awareness is so fundamental, it's so close to you that you just miss it. That's the whole problem. It's so close to you. You know, Nisargadatta Maharaj used to say that the truth is so close to you that you will not find a path to it. It is due to its presence that you are trying to find paths. So the whole point is to feel this sense of pure being, awareness in the first person, subjectively. Then you will understand the relevance of this Upanishadic literature, how magical it is, how wonderful it is, how inspiring it is. It is talking about the human being in depth. Then you will not say, oh, it's a scripture, it's a philosophy. Arey, it is existential inquiry. It is an inquiry into my own existence. It is the truth about me. So how will you not relate with it? The whole point is to catch this spirit by first person inquiry, which means the lab is right here. You are the researcher. Just put your ego aside a little and check and see what is the most fundamental thing in your experience. It's your awareness. Nobody can refute this or doubt this, because this is the actual fact with every human mind. It is basically aware, and then come in thoughts and emotions, whatever you want to identify with. So this research characterizes the Upanishads. there's a very beautiful Eka Shloki. In one shloka, Shankaracharya is telling us the spirit of the Upanishads. So I would just like to mention that before we enter into Ishopanishad. This very idea is there also in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, in a dialogue between Yajnavalkya and Janaka. So the Eka Shloki, it begins like this. It says, what is it that gives light to man? What is it that lights up our universe? So obviously in those days there were no LED lights and all that, so it's the sun. Now in the absence of the sun, what lights up the universe, he says? Then you would say the moon. On a moonlit night, it's so beautiful. But in the absence of the moon also, what lights up the universe? Then you would say, well, fire, right? You can see through fire in those days. And then suppose you don't light a fire. In the absence of fire, what lights up the universe? Then he says speech. Through speech you can make your way through things. In the absence of speech, what lights up the world? Okay, tell me. In the absence of speech, suppose you don't speak, what is it that lights up the world around you? Obviously, it's your awareness. Because you're a conscious being, you can perceive. Consciousness is at the heart of the perception process. Consciousness is at the heart of the cognitive process. So you can't deny this. This is what they are trying to focus upon in the Upanishads. When you dive into any Upanishad, there may be a few ideas concerning other things. They may appear like other things, but fundamentally they are talking about consciousness. They are talking about your own awareness. So this is how you must learn to relate with the Upanishad. And if you don't learn to relate with it in the first person, it will appear like, at the most, like a good philosophy, a thought construct. So it is not merely a thought construct, it is something more fundamental to thought. So now we will enter into the Upanishad and discover these radiant ideas which the Rishi is speaking to us. See, I told you the Upanishadic literature is not a product of thinking or cogitating or just a belief system being constructed, not anything like that. It is a research, a first person research or inquiry into the nature of my existence. So who will be capable of doing it? One who is a Rishi. Who is a Rishi? One who puts aside the material aspects of life and dives into the core of existence. One who is capable of putting aside the things he is identified with and tries to discover the very core of his existence. He is a Rishi. So if you generate this Rishi mind, at once you will get in tune with the spirit of the Upanishads.